At 5:15 hours local time, Ukrainian military sources reported that a Russian motorcycle assault was halted during intense fighting along the front line after snipers and other defensive units engaged advancing troops in a coordinated defensive operation. The claims have not been independently verified, and Russian officials had not commented on the reported incident at the time of publication. According to Ukrainian accounts, the engagement occurred in an area where Russian forces allegedly employed motorcycles to move small assault groups quickly across exposed terrain. Military analysts have noted that motorcycles have appeared with increasing frequency on parts of the battlefield, offering greater speed than armored vehicles in certain conditions while presenting a much smaller target profile. However, they also provide little protection against gunfire, artillery fragments, or drone attacks. Ukrainian officials stated that reconnaissance drones first detected the approaching assault groups before relaying their movements to units positioned along prepared defensive lines. Surveillance footage reportedly allowed commanders to monitor the attacker's route and coordinate responses among several elements, including sniper teams, infantry, and unmanned aerial systems. As the motorcycles advanced, Ukrainian snipers were said to have targeted riders at extended distances, attempting to disrupt the momentum of the assault before the attackers could reach defensive positions. Military observers say trained snipers are often assigned to engage key personnel or exploit opportunities created by reconnaissance, although confirming the precise sequence of events during combat is difficult. Ukrainian sources describe the engagement as unfolding over several minutes, with multiple motorcycle teams attempting to cross open ground in succession. Defenders claim that several riders were hit before reaching cover, forcing others to alter their routes or abandon the advance. The reported operation also highlighted the increasing integration of drones and precision marksmanship on the modern battlefield. Small reconnaissance drones have become an important component of battlefield awareness, allowing commanders to identify troop movements, adjust firing positions, and coordinate defensive responses in real time. Defense analysts note that motorcycle assaults represent an adaptation to evolving battlefield conditions. Heavy armored vehicles remain vulnerable to anti-tank weapons, mines, and loitering munitions, leading some units to experiment with lighter, faster transportation for small assault teams. While motorcycles can reduce transit time across dangerous areas, they leave riders exposed and can become difficult to maneuver over damaged terrain. Throughout the conflict, both Ukraine and Russia have continuously adjusted tactics in response to changing threats. The widespread use of drones, electronic warfare systems, precision-guided weapons, and extensive defensive fortifications has reshaped how assaults are conducted and how defenders respond. Independent verification of battlefield claims remains challenging because journalists often have limited access to active combat zones, and information released by either side may reflect operational or strategic messaging. Open-source analysts typically compare official statements with geolocated imagery, satellite data, and available combat footage before drawing conclusions about specific engagements. The reported incident underscores the increasingly complex nature of frontline operations, where reconnaissance, communication networks, and precision fires frequently determine the outcome of small unit engagements. Whether involving armored vehicles, infantry, or motorcycles, battlefield success often depends on the ability to detect enemy movements early, and coordinate multiple capabilities in a limited window of time. As fighting continues across several sectors of eastern and southern Ukraine, both sides are expected to keep adapting their tactics in response to evolving battlefield conditions, making rapid innovation and intelligence gathering central features of the ongoing conflict. Ukrainian troops are conducting search and strike operations and extensively using first-person view FPV drones and bomber drones to detect and attack Russian infantry and firing positions, the statement read. Our defense remains active. Drones always go first, both to detect the enemy and to strike it, Syrskaya said. According to the commander, Ukrainian forces killed 21 Russian soldiers, wounded 6 others, and struck 6 Russian shelters in Kostiantynivka on July 21. Syrskyi made the remarks following a visit to the Kostiantynivka sector, where he received reports from the leadership of Ukraine's 19th Army Corps and commanders of brigades and other units operating in the area. Syrskyi said the main priority was expanding the use of all types of unmanned systems to increase pressure on Russian forces while reducing risks to Ukrainian personnel. Vladislav Urubkov, head of the military department at the Ukrainian Foundation Come Back Alive, told the Kyiv Independent that despite the volatile situation and the presence of Russian troops in Kostiantynivka, it would be inaccurate to say that Russian forces control the entire city, despite repeated Russian media claims to the contrary. For at least a month now, maybe even longer, the situation in the city has been as follows. The Russians move in, build up their forces, and we try to drive them out. Our presence there remains, Urubkov said. This applies to any urban combat. There is no front line as such. Even a larger Russian presence in a particular neighborhood does not indicate their complete control over that neighborhood, since there may also be Ukrainian positions there. Urubkov said Ukrainian units are now reaching their positions in the area primarily on foot, as even ground robotic systems face difficulty entering them because the 2 access roads are under heavy Russian fire control. Urubkov said Russian troops are positioned at varying depths on both flanks of Kostiantynivka, but that there is no indication the city is at risk of semi-encirclement. He added that Russian forces continue to maintain constant pressure, affecting the defense of the neighboring town of Chasiv Yar, where heavy fighting has continued for more than 2 years. It's very difficult right now to say how long the defense of Kostiantynivka can hold out. For now, fortunately, the city is holding out and Ukrainian troops remain there. The main thing is to avoid a full-scale encirclement, where people would be unable to leave the city. That is something that must definitely be avoided. Once home to more than 100,000 people, Kostiantynivka is the southernmost city in Ukraine's so-called Donbass fortress belt, which also includes Druzhkivka, Kramatorsk, and Sloviansk. The group of cities remains the main barrier to Moscow's objective of occupying the entirety of Donetsk Oblast. Russian infiltration groups began entering residential neighborhoods on the city's outskirts over the winter, exploiting gaps between overstretched Ukrainian positions and increasingly difficult frontline logistics. By early June, Ukrainian commanders acknowledged that more than 100 Russian soldiers were operating within the urban area. Russian authorities have repeatedly claimed control over Kostiantynivka, while Ukraine's general staff has denied those assertions and said Ukrainian forces continue operating against infiltrating Russian infantry groups.
Wire!